In the morning, I like to listen to Mad Hatter Nation. Guy's a big Detroit Lion fan, and he does a podcast in the morning. And he's kind of, total Michigan sense of humor, and I like listening to the guy. And he has on YouTube in the mornings, like 9 o'clock Central Time. He's broadcasting, right? And he put on a video of this rapper that that's putting out like the crazy cost of Super Bowl tickets is like $8,000 per ticket for the Super Bowl, and you know how that totally alienates the middle class, people that you know you know power our nation, right? And so I wanted to see what do you think it would cost next year. Next year, looking like around $9,600 per Super Bowl ticket. And I'm like, what if I had somebody coming to me, my typical market, a somebody who's a barber or hairstylist or an HVAC technician or welder, civil engineer, um, the typical clients that I deal with, and what if they came to me? They want to go to the Super Bowl next year, and so per with a ticket at $9,600, hotel, travel, airfare, and meals, you're looking at about 20 grand for the weekend to go to the Super Bowl next year. So I started just going through my process of what I do and analyzing their current situation, how much they're making, what they're spending it on, uh, debt and expenses, and if they have savings already, if they have, for an emergency fund, 3 to 6 months. Do they own a house with a mortgage? And I'm thinking, okay, if they, then what could I do? And I'm like, how I would trans make the transgression for this guy, a progression to get them to a point where they have cash flow and they have income. What can I look at what they do to make more money? Doing the synergistic business strategies, taking the same knowledge base to create multiple streams of income. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if somebody had a mortgage and I set them up with a family banking or infinite banking strategy, they would have enough. They would have enough net by next year to pay for the Super Bowl ticket and the travel and expenses, the travel, lodging, and meals. They could do it. And I'm like, this is incredible. The This is amazing. So I made an AI video, and I had to wrestle with AI about the imagery and facing the right way and having what I wanted. But finally I got it right, posted it, and it just there's something about AI that just doesn't get the essence of what you want to you know you want to get out there. Okay, it just misses something, the essence of what you're trying to do. And I had somebody say, that it's not personable enough. It's not authentic enough, right? So that's why I'm doing this video. Okay, if you if you were somebody who wanted to be able to go to the Super Bowl next year, if you wanted to, I can help you figure out how to do it. All right, and you just go to mybusinessisyourbusiness.info. That's my website. I have another uh, a YouTube channel. It's RLOWINGIAL at gmail.com. That's it, right? But I'll put that in the comments of this video. I'm gonna actually um, more interested in the World Cup. Hey, no problem. I just gotta know when is it. When we can do it, right? Thank you for thank you for um, you know, engaging with me. Yeah, I kind of specialize in, I started off as a debt management consultant because when I got in the military, I wasn't making enough money to even pay my bills. And I started self-educating myself on personal finance and debt management. I learned about a debt roll-up strategy, put it to work for myself, got myself out of debt, and then I answered a ad in the paper as a debt management. I was working as a venture capital broker, so I got a little bit of understanding of that business. And it's up and down. It was up and down, straight commission gig. And I answered ad in the paper as a debt management consultant. Long story short, I wrote more business for that company my first month than anybody had done for them in a year and a half, and then made me the manager. And every time I showed somebody how to get out of debt, they started looking at buying a house. And so after that, I got my real estate license, started doing mortgages and real estate in California. And primarily, most of the people, I'd help them clean up their credit, get them so their debt to income ratio would 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 work to get into a house. And I did well in that business. And then when 2000, I got hit in 2008 because I was heavy with construction lending. Started shifting to commercial lending, which was like feast or famine. And that's when I found financial services. And so whenever I look at somebody's finances, I'm usually looking at it from the angle of, what could they do? People that don't own a house, what do you do to become a homeowner? And then if small business owners, I like to focus on small business owners because they're money motivated. Otherwise, they wouldn't have started a small business. And but what I've got kind of bogged down with was doing too much work that I didn't get paid for, helping small business owners with filing for their, fictitious business name, registering their business, getting a bank account, and not really getting paid for that. And then I found the Christian Entrepreneur Club. And I'm like, oh, I just had to refer them to them. So I have a banner on my website with a link to the Christian Entrepreneur Club if you want to get involved with that. And there are people that have got way more experience than I do. So, but it helps me because that takes care of some of the heavy lifting for me, right? So people can learn, from people with experience. They have mastermind groups and everything to do that. So this is a plug for them. And but yeah, so it's fascinating to me that I could actually just implement in my process of analyzing what their finances, help them get on a budget, starting a savings plan for an emergency fund, getting them protection, getting them the tax advantage and tax deferred growth, and that somebody could, if they wanted to, go to the Super Bowl next year. All right. Have a great day.